Hey, Graham English here. Welcome to our Logic Studio Training Beginning Tutorial Series. And so we've talked a little bit about installing Logic and the Arrange window, and now you want to get started. So the very first thing that usually happens when you create an empty project is it asks you to create some new tracks. So we're going to go ahead and create an audio track. And let's say you're not a player. Let's say you don't actually play an instrument, so you've got nothing to record. You don't actually have a MIDI synthesizer, so you have nothing to play into the sequencer. Well, you're probably going to want to start importing some Apple loops. Apple loops can be both audio and MIDI. And where do we find those? If we go over to here to our toolbar in this menu area, we click Media, and you can see that we can have these submenus here. So we go to our Loops menu, select all, and we can see all the loops that were installed with Logic Pro. And you see these blue loops and green loops. Blue corresponds with audio. If I create a new MIDI track like a software instrument, you'll see that's green. And the green corresponds to the green loops. So the MIDI loops I can drag over to these MIDI tracks, and it'll contain all the MIDI data that we can then edit further and use the sound that it uses, but change the music notes that are applied to that sound. Now the MIDI track, the audio track right here, we can go ahead and grab an audio track and drag it there. And if we double click on that audio, we see the audio editor here, and we can edit the audio. But if we just play, we'll hear both of those played together. It might not sound great, but you can do it anyway. Actually, because I had this selected, it was playing just the audio editor. But if I select the Arrange window and play, oh, system overload. I'm recording video, and that can be a pain in the butt with Logic. But here we go. So there were two, a MIDI file and an audio file playing together. So obviously you can arrange a complete song this way just by dragging Apple loops into your Arrange window. Another thing we can do is go to our browser and find files that are in our Logic folder or on our computer or our home folder. So we can find all kinds of files, and we can drag them in this way. And a previous project I've had, here's some audio files. We can drag these in here. These are AIF files, and we can drag them to one of these tracks. It would lay right on here, or we could drag it to a new track, and it creates a new track for us. And there we've got it right here, and we can start playing all of this together. Probably won't sound good, so we won't. But that's another way you can drag tracks into there, into your Arrange window. So as you've seen, there's multiple ways that we can bring information media into Logic using our loop browser, using the library. We can go ahead and select new instruments that will show up in our inspector and start playing MIDI with them. But if you don't have an instrument and you just want to start dragging pre-created content, you go to your Apple Loops library and you start bringing in audio tracks, as many as you want, or as your computer will, your operating system and processor speed will allow. You can bring in MIDI tracks again and again, and they will just show up right in there. They'll automatically set to the correct tempo. They're really amazing tools for arrangement, and as you can see, I have thousands, and these were just installed with the basic Leopard install and Logic Studio. I have imported nothing at this point. So we've got a bunch of tracks that we could start creating an arrangement with right now. If you have something that's not indexed in your library, you just go to your browser and you navigate to it just like you would the Finder. So we create a new Finder window, and we've got some audio that we want to install. We navigate to it, and here I find a nice little piece of audio I want to install, drag it to wherever I want. It automatically creates an image overview for you to visualize, and it brings the audio in there, so immediately you can start mixing with it and playing with it and editing and doing all kinds of things to that audio. So you can do that. You can drag MIDI files directly into the Arrange window. Lots of really fun stuff you can do. So go ahead. Don't Don't think you need to master this. Just go ahead and start dragging stuff in and see how Logic behaves when you do it. And you'll probably usually be surprised that it'll import it and you'll be able to start using it in your project and make great music. So enjoy yourself. Have a lot of fun. See you next time. If you're really serious about becoming a Logic Studio power user, drop what you're doing and head to logicstudiotraining.com. We've got hours of Logic Studio tutorials for beginners like you've seen here, and some really advanced stuff to take your music to the next level. See you there.